So here I'm shaving down the roots with this Japanese rasp. It's called a Shinto rasp. Then I switch over to a block, sanding block with sandpaper, with about 100 grit sandpaper. I gradually work my way up in grit of sandpaper all the way up to 1,000. At this point, I'm using this saw. It's a craft saw purchased in Japan. It's you can find them at any big box hardware store. So I'm basically just cutting out the section where the Nagasugi is going to be, the connecting joint. As you can see, I'm going to cut off where the tape marks are, probably about 5 centimeters. And this will create the length of the shakuhachi to be 1.8. This is a tool that works pretty well. It gets a nice, perfectly round circle before I get the chisel and chisel out the rest of that material to fit in the center joint extra piece, I guess, piece of bamboo that will become the center joint, the Nagasugi. Measuring about, I like to go a little bit longer than most diagrams show. I go all the way up to where about 2 millimeters from where the hole is going to be. This gives a nice, secure, tight joint, and still works well even if the arushi gets worn out. So this type of tool you could get pretty much on any Japanese crafts catalog. Also, like Meijiro Shakuhachi does sell them as well. So now I'm using the chisel to remove the material. I use a dowel pen with sandpaper wrapped around it to get a nice, evenly round circle for the insert. So now I'm just using this angle to get a perfect 90 degree, I should say angle tool to get a 90 degree. Hard to get it exactly, but I'm pretty much right on the money here. I just want to make sure that the insert of the bamboo for the joint is nice and straight. You don't want it off to one side, obviously. So it looks about on the ball, right at 90 degrees. So now on the upper end of the shakuhachi, where the joint's going to come disconnected, it's important to file it down and put in twine or string binding to prevent it from cracking, because you're going to be pulling, disconnecting and reconnecting the center joint, Nagasugi, and that's a vulnerable area to cracking. So it does need a strong binding around it. This is a basically a twine that you get again in Japan in a local big box hardware store. Thinner than what you could find here. I believe it is used for like construction, for getting level lines. But the ones we have here, it's too fat. So if you can't get that, you could always use fishing line or like sewing thread. I'm sure you could also go to like a craft store and find a thinner twine. As long as it's strong enough, it will work. I should also say, it doesn't show in this video, but once the twine goes on, you cover that with G plaster. So at this point, I'm drilling out the fushi, or the nodes. I use just a hand type drill. I don't use a power drill. You could use a power drill, but in the past, when I was using the power drill, it kind of dug into the actual bamboo, so it's kind of dangerous in that sense. Now I'm using a Japanese rasp. This is a rasp made for just this purpose. This is the lower end where the root is, the hardest part to get drilled out, because you have the most fushi and thickest material. Now I'm actually cutting out where the blowing edge is going to be. I'm using the box as kind of a guide to get a straight angle. So again, I use the Shinto rasp. Now I'm drilling out the finger holes on the drill press. This is again a Japanese drill bit, especially made for the bamboo. It has nice sharp, or fork edges on it, and very sharp, so it prevents the bamboo from splintering. Generally, you want the hole placement to be around between 21 and 22% of the total length from the first hole, and then about 10% from in between each hole going up the shakuhachi. And this is the finished result. So I'll be doing more of these, and then starting to fill in with the G.